So I promised you guys a video of the update for this bumper, and what better spot to do it on top of this rock in the sunlight. So let's go through this stuff. The first thing I had talked about was putting this receiver hitch tubing on here, and I originally wanted it to go all the way back so I could weld it onto these brackets for some strength, but that didn't happen. I ordered one that was too short and I decided to just go with it. This is what it looks like. Just added some more metal up here, it's welded on there. Got a little bit of an angle here in the front, so it's got a good amount of weld on it. And right now we're just running a D-ring shackle through it. It's lined up perfectly with this winch center, so I'll go over that in a second here. And then on the sides you can see we've got the toe brackets for the tow bar. Now these hang down a little bit, which I did not want to do. I was originally planning on putting them here and here, but they're actually too wide to even fit there. And then another problem, the manufacturer of the tow bar says that they have to be at least 24 inches apart, and putting them right here was only about 17, 18 inches, so I didn't want to risk it. That's where they are right now. Luckily they're just bolted on, so I can take these off if I end up not doing the towing anymore in this way, because I do want to get a trailer eventually. It's gonna be much easier. Besides that, the biggest star of this front bumper now is the winch. This is a Warn VR Evo. Now this isn't the one I ordered. Funny enough, I was on Amazon and I ordered the Warn VR Generation 2 because I was told that's the best one. It's the strongest. I'll put a link somewhere around here to an article I was reading on Round Forge, I think is the name of the site, and they were talking about all the differences in the winch generations and all that. And this Evo one is great. It's got great reviews. The Gen 2 just looked better, and that one was going to come with steel cable but a Haas fair lead for the synthetic line. So I thought, okay, that's cool. That way I can at least change out to synthetic later and not have to worry about my fair lead. Well, when it showed up, I got the Evo instead. It was the cable and has the traditional cable fair lead. I'm not bummed about it. I'm just like, whatever. I'm familiar with cable, much more so than synthetic, so it's fine. I think this weighs like 12 pounds more with the cable instead of the synthetic rope. So whatever, it is what it is. I can always change that out later. And this is the 8000 model, which everything feels really good. This is probably the nicest winch I've ever bought. I've usually gone Ramsey, Smittybilt, and Engo in the past, which have also been great. But this is definitely the most expensive one I've ever bought and the nicest. Everything on here is really great. One thing that I thought might be an issue is this right here. You can see how close it is. Not a lot of wiggle room in here for the winch. So I slid it all the way this way when I was putting it on. But then the opening for the winch didn't line up center. So I said, all right, I'll just move it back. So a little bit of extra room on this side and really tight on this side. And at first that was kind of worrisome to me because there isn't a lot of room to run these cables. So, you know, I'm running them up and over, but oh well. I actually like how tight it is in here because there's not a lot of room for leaves and stuff to pile up. Like in my Suburban, it's a pretty big bucket and there's just all kinds of leaves and pine needles and whatnot in there. And then lastly, I told you guys I was gonna supplement my windshield floodlights that go out to the side with something a little bit bigger. And I had actually bought a Fairlead light mount that it's just an angled piece of steel that goes up and out. And I was gonna try to run it up and this way to get the light behind a little bit, but as you can see, there's not enough room to do that. And I couldn't run it this way either because it didn't go high enough. It only went to like right here, but I just drilled some holes in the Fairlead itself. This is the exact same setup I have in the Suburban. This light's a little bit bigger. I believe this one's 18 inches. And it's got the flood on the outboard and then the spot in the middle. And it looks great, works awesome. All of mine are from Nightlight. I've just been ordering them from them for a while and the lights are great. I would love to go get some rigid ones or something like that, but just a little bit out of my budget. You know, this is kind of a basic build, this Samurai. Yeah, that's the front bumper update. Haven't really smacked it on anything yet. It's holding up to the towing. Nothing's coming loose, so One thing I do want to mention, the angle that these are on at, there is some limitation to how high the tow bar can go. It starts to bind up if it goes too high up. So keep that in mind if you're gonna do a similar setup with this bumper. Otherwise, I would prefer to mount it straight on. I think that's the strongest way to do it too. But this is what I've got, and looking forward to putting this winch to the test and, you know, running these lights more and seeing how all this stuff goes. And, you know, as always, I'll report back and let you guys know how everything's working out, what I like and what I don't. And it's time to get home. We're gonna go back down this trail, air up, and hit the road.